So have you ever had a week that is just out of control busy? Maybe that's every week for you, I don't know. But this week, that's how today is gonna go. I am gonna be prepping, preparing, and making sure that everything that could go wrong on a diet is not gonna go wrong because I'm gonna have everything done for the week. I just got done grocery shopping and I am ready to go. So today we're gonna start off with a detox, delicious cabbage soup. Now you may be saying, oh, soup, but this one's really good. It's got all kinds of good stuff in it. We're going to add lentils to it later, and we're gonna put some ground beef in it, and we're gonna be doing all kinds of stuff today. So I hope you'll join along with me. Maybe it'll give you some ideas. If you've got a busy lifestyle and you're trying to figure out, how do I stay on a diet? How can I do all this? These are some tips that might help you. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is get my vegetables all cut up, and then I'm gonna clean everything. And I'm just gonna get ready for, making these different dishes. So right now, this is just an onion that came out of my garden. It's just one of those Elisa Craig onions. These are really, really, really flavorful onions. I've also got some peppers that I got out of my garden. Now these are not hot peppers. These are those adjavarski, that's what they're called. So these are kind of the end of the season. They didn't get real big, but they are so good. I usually put these in my eggs in the mornings, but I'm actually gonna put some in my soup. I'm also gonna put some fresh celery in here, but I wanna cook some of this celery up. Okay, so we are gonna start cooking up a few of our vegetables with our meat. All right, we're gonna add about a tablespoon of olive oil. We're gonna add our vegetables to the olive oil. I'm gonna be adding my ground beef. I've got a pound of ground beef that I had in the refrigerator all night, kind of thawing out. We're gonna let this just cook up, and then I'm gonna strain off any fat that's in the bottom of the pan. So while our vegetables and meat are cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and cut up some cabbage. I'm actually gonna cut up this whole cabbage. I ended up buying a very small one. So I cut up 2 heads of celery. Now I'm just gonna roughly chop some cabbage. And then I'm gonna run it through the strainer and just get it all cleaned up and ready for the soup. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and add the carrots. So I realized I'm out of broth. I don't know how that happened, but next time I have bones, I'm gonna have to make up some new broth. So I'm adding some Better Than bouillon. This is my good old standby in case I'm out of broth. So I'm just gonna be adding some water to this. Now, before I get too much water in there, I wanna add the rest of my cabbage. Now this is gonna look like a lot of cabbage and celery, but in reality, this is gonna cook way down. It's gonna wilt, so we're not gonna have to worry about it. We're just gonna let it cook up. I got that on max high, so I'm gonna start cooking this down. I didn't put much water in it, so it'll heat up again really quickly. So I might as well share with you a little bit of why my week is just so crazy this week. So yesterday, my 1-year-old granddaughter, I don't know how it happened, but she dislocated, we thought it was her shoulder, it was actually her elbow. And it was purely an accident, but she was in the hospital all day yesterday. They had to take her to a children's hospital. And then from there, I had my grandkids all day, and normally on Sundays, I kind of get caught up with all my prep work and everything. Well, I just got a call, and they've had a really rough night. So as soon as I get all this cooking done, I've decided to make a change. I'm making my soup, but I'm gonna make like a spaghetti casserole to take over with me this afternoon. And I'm gonna relieve my daughter-in-law so she can try to get some sleep, and then I'll feed the kids, and hopefully everybody will be doing a little bit better tomorrow. Let's hope. Oh boy, things happen though, you know, that are out of our control sometimes. I guess she was getting out of bed and my daughter-in-law was just trying to help her down, and as she did, somehow her elbow got dislocated, and it was kind of interesting. The doctor said that's like a third of the injuries that they see with small children, you know, is the problem with the elbow. So I don't know. I think now she's probably more prone to having that happen, so we're all going to have to be extremely careful. She's kind of a little chubby, so I wonder if having that extra weight that you got to pull up is, you know, more than the average kid. You don't know. But anyway, we're going to focus on our soup right now, and I'm going to be getting that casserole done, and I'm just going to show you how I make a casserole for the kids. I'm not going to eat it. I'm going to take some of my soup over for me and my daughter-in-law, and then the rest of them can have the casserole. I'm going to be doing a couple of things. I'm going to put a couple cloves of fresh garlic in my soup, and I want to have those minced up really good. I grated some ginger. I'm going to put some of that in here. And we are going to get this soup to a point that it is going to be definitely something that, you know, you're really going to enjoy if you're just wanting to enjoy fall or you're wanting to detox a little bit. This is perfect. Now, you can substitute the ground beef for some ground chicken if you prefer. Either one will work good, or even ground turkey will be fine. So I'm just grating up some ginger. I'm going to do a couple large pieces of it, and I just put mine through my garlic press. It works really good. I don't like big chunks of ginger in my food, so this is kind of how I have to do it, which is, you know, whatever works for everybody is good. So I want about a teaspoon of fresh ginger in here. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and I've got some ginger. I'm going to go ahead and also put in some garlic. So I'm taking about a half a cup of raw Italian parsley. I'm just going to chop that up. Now I'm going to be putting the lemon juice and the parsley in last. I'm going to be putting some freshly ground black pepper in the soup. About a quarter of a teaspoon, or however much you like. This is really to your taste. So if there's something in here you don't like or you prefer not to have, I'm going to put a little bit of salt, maybe about a quarter of a teaspoon. I'm also going to be putting in some ground paprika, as well as some turmeric. Now, if you want to use fresh turmeric, you could do that. This is really good for joints and bones and all of that. All right, I'm going to add one more glass of water. This is going to be more of like a cabbage detox stew. The other thing I like putting in my soup is some hot sauce. This is similar to a Frank's Red Hot. I'm just going to put a little bit of that in there. I'm going to go ahead and put this on my stove so I can start cooking my next meal. And when I'm about 20 minutes away from this being done, I'm going to add the lemon juice and the parsley. So the next meal we're going to be making is a spaghetti casserole. So before I add my spaghetti sauce, I like to add a little bit of tomato paste if I'm making a casserole. Then I'm going to add a little bit of water to this, but I just think that it makes it more flavorful when you bake it rather than just serving it over spaghetti noodles. So we're gonna put that together. Like this. Finish cooking up the ground beef. I'm gonna put some of my homegrown basil in there. It's out of my garden. Now I'm going to add my pasta sauce. When you're baking this in the oven, you want to make sure that it's a lot more liquidy than if you're just serving it over noodles. You don't want your noodles drying out. This is some pasta sauce that I canned from this summer's tomatoes. I'm going to put that in. Give it a good stir. And then I'm going to start cooking up my noodles. All right, I'm gonna add some salt to my water. I am gonna clean up my mess here, and I am going to get the noodles out and ready to start cooking. So the first thing we're gonna do is add our lemon juice. I'm gonna add the juice of 1 whole lemon to our soup. Then we're gonna add our fresh parsley. All right, our soup is all ready. We're just going to stir the parsley and the lemon juice in. So I'm gonna leave it on low for maybe another 15 minutes. Just let that lemon juice and everything meld up there. I'm actually gonna taste the broth to make sure that the seasonings are spot on. Oh boy, that is delicious. Oh wow, that is a good soup. All right, my spaghetti the water has started to boil. And so all I'm gonna do is get some noodles. And we're gonna start putting these in here now. These are for a 1-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 6-year-old. So I'm gonna break my noodles in half. They'll still be long enough they can enjoy them. So my noodles are completely cooked. Well, they're al dente. I didn't want them completely cooked, but I'm gonna go ahead and rinse these, and then we're gonna put it together as a casserole. All right, I'm gonna put a little bit of my meat sauce on the bottom. Not very much, just a little bit. I did spray the bottom of my pan. All right, now the rest of this, I'm actually gonna add to the spaghetti. All right, I've got another jar of pasta sauce. Put a little bit more on the bottom. I'm gonna put half of my spaghetti down. About half is all we're gonna put. And we're gonna put, I know it sounds crazy, but a little bit of this queso cheese. I love this stuff. So we are going to break some of this up. Put this right over the top. Just kind of sprinkle it. It will all melt into the spaghetti. Now, if you want to put chunks of mozzarella, you could do that. I am going to put a little bit of mozzarella cheese on it as well. So this is probably about 2 tablespoons of the queso. Now, if you've never used the queso and you really don't want to even try it, don't worry about it. Just use the mozzarella. You can't mess this up. All right, put a little bit of mozzarella cheese, just like that. You don't need a lot to get that yummy flavor. Just put a little bit more sauce. We don't want it to dry out. And put the rest of our spaghetti, just like this. Get all that good sauce and meat and all our goodies in there. Put a little bit of mozzarella. You can put cheddar cheese in if you want. This is all the cheese I'm gonna add. This is plenty. And then I'm gonna put the rest of my sauce on there. And I'm even gonna add like maybe a 1/4 of a little cup here, and I'm gonna put that water in there. When this bakes up, it's gonna make it all bubbly and delicious. I'm just going to spray the top of my pan with a little bit of cooking. Actually, I don't even need to do that. I'm just gonna put this right over this. And I am gonna put this in the refrigerator until it's time to go to their house. And I'm leaving like in about an hour. I have one of these little carrying cases that I can take things wherever I need to go. So I'm gonna put that in there. And I'm just gonna stick this in the refrigerator outside and my spaghetti will be ready to go. If you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing to my channel. Give me a like, a thumbs up, or ring this bell for future notifications, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.